Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Charlie from Combat Talk Podcast, and we are joined here with the UFC Light Heavyweight, Mr. Smiling Sam Alvey. How are you, man?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay, man. Did you just see the fights a few hours ago?
No, I didn't see one of them. I actually didn't know they were even on right now. It's the early afternoon where I am.
Yeah,
I
true.
thought they were on tonight. I didn't know they were a morning fight. I
Yeah,
did see Chiesa one, but I don't know the result of anything else.
he won 49-46, unanimous decision by every judge. He outgrappled
Yeah, well, I
McGregor,
got that.
unfortunately, but it was a good performance.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Was it? Did he get it to the ground or was it all striking?
He outgrappled him.
Oh wow, I didn't think you'd be able to get him down for 5 rounds.
Yeah, that was a
Oh
good
wow.
fight. It was a smart fight. Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's how you have to fight him.
yes.
I picked Magny to win. My bad.
Yeah. Well, while we are here, man, we just want to talk about your whole career as a mixed martial artist. First of all, why, when, how did you really want to become a mixed martial artist? How did this all happen?
Yeah, I was probably 10-1 as a pro when I said, "Hey, maybe I'll do this for a living." Um, I, I didn't even learn about the UFC till I was probably 6-1 or 7-1 as a pro. I started training after 6 fights. It was just something I enjoyed doing. I made like gas money every now and then fighting, and it was just a good time. I was not experienced. I was not a combatant of any kind, but I really enjoyed stepping in that cage, and so that's what I just kept doing.
Yeah. Way before that, what made you want to start the sport?
Somebody offered. That was I never watched fighting, not
Oh,
boxing. I was not in taekwondo. Never knew about the UFC. But somebody said, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." And
there you
the
go.
rest is history. And that was literally, it was like an hour or two notice, and said, "Yeah, let's do it."
For
I
sure.
lost the first
Sure.
one, and then I started winning after that. I started training after I turned pro, and now here I am, 20 fights into the UFC.
Where do you see yourself in the next few months as a in the light heavyweight division? Like, who do you see? Is there any
Well,
offers
I'm dropping
boxing you
back
as a
down to middle.
fighter?
Right. I can't seem to win a decision at light heavyweight, so I'm going to drop back down to middleweight.
Oh, for
And
real? Okay.
yeah, I'm going
That's
back down.
very
The
interesting.
judges are stupid. All of them. They're all terrible. Every last one of them. There's not a good one out there.
Yeah,
And I am. I've watched both of mine. Convinced I won the last 2 fights. I might have won the last 3 fights, but the judges disagreed. And so in my head, I'm saying, well, it's because the other guys have been bigger than me. So I'm going to drop back down to middleweight. I'm going to be a bigger middleweight, and I'm never going to lose again.
that happens, man. Now I just want to get into your last fight at UFC 254. It was a
Mhm.
split decision fight. If I'm, oh no, it was a draw, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah. I just want to hear your whole recap of that fight.
Yeah. I went out there. I was moving and grooving. I was hitting. I was out striking. I'm like 10-1, and it was possibly the greatest performance of my career. I was doing everything right round one. Round two came out. I was even better than round one. I came out. I was slipping punches. I was moving, pushing him back. Hitting him on my way back. It was really a good round. It's actually. So my boxing coach, Gustavo, was out there with my wife. And Gustavo, I don't think he's ever told me I've won a round. It's always, he was close, it was closer, he won. And he told me after, he said, "Yeah, you won round one." And then round two, he said, "Man, you won round two. Let's
Wow.
finish him." My wife was saying, "Yeah, there's no reason he should make it out of round three." So we went out to round three, and then the boy caught me with this elbow. It was a slick elbow. I was catching coming in, he was right over the top and just bink, set me on my butt. But I recovered. I got back up. I landed. The coolest part of maybe my entire career happened right after that big elbow. I got back up. I landed 4 uppercuts in a row. It
Wow.
was fire. But all that being said, I lost the third round. He hit me. That elbow was really slick. He caught me with one more elbow that wobbled me but didn't drop me, and that was the end of the fight, the round. Going into the decision, I knew there was no chance I lost that fight. I was up two
True.
rounds.
Very
The
true.
last round, real close and competitive, and those judges they did me dirty. They called it a draw. What I like to think is I've got like 70 fights, and I've never had a draw. I've had 2 no contests.
Wow.
I've had every kind of fight that you can imagine. I've never had a draw. Now I've had a draw, so I can put that in my cap too. I would have preferred to have won, but I have a draw.
Look, it happens, you know, you're winning the first 2 rounds and the judges just see it as a whole different way when you deep down know you haven't won. It happens, man. It's very bad. So you, well, this is my this is my whole first impression of you going down to as a middleweight. I really want to ask you, as you right now, me thinking as you as a light heavyweight, how do you see Israel Adesanya going up to light heavyweight to challenge Jan Blachowicz?
I think he's going to win. Israel doesn't really slow down. He's not a super high-paced fighter, but he doesn't really get tired. His output in round 5 is about the same as round 1. Jan does slow down. He's got a solid 3 rounds. Now that he's champion, maybe he'll be good for 4 and 5. He does have more power than Izzy does, but it's kind of slow. I could really see Izzy winning a fairly solid decision in this one.
Oh wow, a decision. Some people see it as an early finish, but we really cannot underestimate the Polish power. If he walks into a right hand, it's very true.
It's true. I don't know if I've ever seen Izzy take a step forward. He'll plant those feet real well, but all those big Polish punches, they kind of come. They're not great punches, but they've got a great result, so they are great punches. I kind of think Izzy's going to be able to get a beat on him by at least round 2.
Yeah, and you as a light heavyweight, where do you see the whole division going by the end of 2021? Because some people are thinking that maybe Israel wins the belt, goes back down, or goes up and fights Jon Jones, or let's not underestimate Jan Blachowicz. He could still retain the belt. Where do you deep down see the light heavyweight division going, and who do you see the champion?
Right now, even though there is a champion, the division is wide open. Now
sure?
that Jon Jones is gone, Jon Jones was leagues better than everyone else. I mean, he was first place, and there was distant second places. That being said, Jon Jones is also a cheater, so his advantages are all PED to positive. But he was still leagues better than everyone. Now that he's gone, the division's wide open. I don't see anyone standing out all that much amongst anyone else. If Izzy goes up there and wins, I think he's going to be a strong champion for a minute. And I could see him going up and down, both middleweight and light heavyweight. I don't think he's going to gain a whole bunch of weight for 205. I think he's going to stay lean enough and be able to bounce back and forth whenever he wants to.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, your whole opinion and the talks of Jon Jones, where do you see his time as a heavyweight?
I think he is going to get slept a lot. I think he's going to get walked over. And it's funny. I think everyone in the division is going to whoop him except for Stipe. I think Stipe is a bad matchup I think Jones is a bad matchup for Stipe. I think Rosenstruck. Yeah, I think Rosenstruck knocks Jones out. Nogano definitely does. Even my balls is hot. What's
Derek
his name?
Derek Lewis.
Yeah, Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis has got a good shot. Jon Jones was never a great fighter. That's wrong. He is a great fighter, but he's a great fighter because he uses his advantages really well. His reach, he's got 84 inches of arm reach. Anytime he fought somebody with a long reach like that. What's that?
He's tied with Stefan Struve for the longest reach.
Yeah. It's incredible. Wow. But anytime he fights someone with a longer reach, like Dominic Reyes or Gustafsson, Jones kind of gets hit a lot more. Now Gustafsson and Reyes aren't big power punchers, but you get up into the heavyweights, they're all big power punchers, and they all have maybe not 84 inches, but they all have 80 inches, 82 inches. They're all close. They're going to hit Jones a lot more than Jones has ever been hit before. And they all hit like trucks. I could see Jones really needing to go back to wrestling, which he hasn't. He's always used wrestling to win a round. I could see him having to wrestle to win the fight.
Very interesting.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to go up there and he's going to be throwing his elbows and high kicking and doing everything.
You gave very interesting and very realistic opinion of Jon Jones. But since Dana White did announce that, I think March 23rd or 27th, you have Stipe versus Ngannou 2, and the winner gets Jon Jones. So do you see, by the way the plan
Really?
is, yeah?
Oh, that is a joke.
Well, it's in
Uh,
the talks for it. Do you see Jon Jones as, by the way the plan is, do you see him as the heavyweight champ by the end of this year?
no, no chance. As much as I like Stipe, Nogano, I think I'm never gonna bet against Nogano. I think Nogano
He's
wins.
very exciting.
Uh,
It's
to go against somebody who punches like Nogano is something else. It's
scary.
his last fight. It was like one big, ugly, sloppy punch that
It was
landed.
against Jairzinho
Um,
Rosenstruck, 20 seconds with
yeah,
a left overhand.
yeah,
Wow.
it was such a terrible punch, but it landed, and Rosenstruck was out. Um, to have that kind of power is so hard to prepare for, and you have to make every punch miss. In their first fight, Stipe versus Francis, Stipe made almost every punch miss. Later in the rounds, Nogano got a little tired, but still
Right.
caught him
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
followed
His
him.
eye with one punch got all swollen up. That was one
Yes.
punch.
Yep. And so that was, I think, round 4. That
Yeah.
means Stipe again has to make him miss for at least 3 rounds before he gets tired. And I don't say, it's just it's playing with fire. Um, and then if Jones gets Nogano sleeps him in the first.
Yeah. If just to be the whole smart term, if I was Stipe, I would say grapple. Like it was a big advantage in the first fight. You cannot make the mistake. You can't get caught. It's just
Yeah.
he's a very exciting fighter. If you walk into a right hand or a left hand of Francis Ngannou, you're going to sleep. So
Yes.
now we want to get into the big thing that is coming up, the main event of this Saturday, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 2. How do you see it happening?
I'm so torn on this because both of them are studs.
For
I
sure.
do think Poirier is a better fighter, but I'm kind of leaning towards McGregor on this one. And I'm usually wrong on McGregor fights. I usually bet against McGregor.
Yes.
I mean, he's double champ. I'm usually wrong. But I think McGregor has more to fight for. If McGregor wins, he's getting a title shot. If Poirier wins, I don't think he's going to get a title shot. And at the end of the day, they're both boxers, but Conor's a better boxer. So if Poirier can get out of his head and try and make it a little bit more of a grappling match, try and tire Conor out a little bit. Don't try and go toe to toe with Conor. I could see Poirier, but I tend to think McGregor.
Really? Yeah. It's very interesting because people are going by, they see Connor, he's back, he's a whole new Connor. I just love the opinion. Like, you're giving very interesting points and it makes you think about that. It really does. And then you have the co-main event of Michael Chandler, the debut Bellator lightweight champion, against Dan the Hangman Hooker. How do you see that going? Do you see a hype train of it?
It's
Or
another
how do you
tough one. I don't think I'm putting money on either of them, but
see?
I lean to Chandler. He's coming up from Bellator, so he wants to make an impression. And when in doubt, don't bet against the wrestler. Uh, and he's a good wrestler. So don't bet against him. And then we get Chandler probably versus Oliveira maybe next if Chandler
Probably,
wins.
probably.
Yeah, and I think that's a more exciting fight than Chandler versus McGregor or Oliveira versus McGregor. But I do lean to Chandler, but I'm not sold on it.
Yeah. I don't think if most people don't know and who is watching, straight after when Charles Oliveira defeated Tony Ferguson, they offered him the fight and Oliveira turned it down due to he couldn't cut the weight, which is very interesting because he has trouble with that.
Uh, yeah, Oliveira would look big, and I think Tony's kind of the big guy, but Oliveira
Yes,
looked
yes.
bigger. And to cut weight like that, it would be a month apart, a month and a half apart.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it will
hard.
be.
Your body, he's gonna get bigger because he's gonna take a week off, and then he's got to start dieting. And it was probably I would have taken the fight, but it's probably a good idea for most people not to have.
And first of all, with this whole lightweight vision fiesta of Khabib retiring, the whole meeting, deep down, how do you see it happening? Will Khabib come back, on your opinion? And if so,
No time soon. I don't think he's going to come back. I think the only fight he's interested in maybe is GSP, and I don't think GSP will do
I
it.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I don't think GSP should do it. And it's kind of funny that Khabib wants it. Khabib's always been, I'll fight anyone, anywhere, but give me 4-year-old, 5-year retired GSP, and I'll fight again. It's like, oh, that's kind of cringeworthy. But
I guess it was for his
I
father's honor.
what's that?
His father wanted Khabib to retire 30-0 with the win over GSP.
Yes. Yeah, and that's Khabib has made his. So I have GSP as the GOAT of all times. I think GSP is as good as anyone has ever been and will ever be. And then he retired for 5 years, came out of retirement, went up a weight class, took the title from middleweight, and retired.
Yes.
He's as good as he's ever been. Khabib, I have it either number 2 or 3 for greatest of all time. So I mean, I guess the only one for him to fight would be GSP, but again, GSP is kind of an old guy. Who hasn't really fought much he fought once in the last 7 years.
And you do have to realize that. Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
No, Khabib has got more money than probably Connor does, and he's got no reason to. He's 30-0. Save your brain, save your body from another grueling camp. And if he loses to whoever he's going to fight, it just tarnishes your record. Right now, you're 30-0. You're arguably the best it's ever been.
Yeah. And in that case, George St. Pierre would have to go down to 155, a weight he has never been before. It is a lot harder to cut weight than to gain and go up a weight. And he's almost at the 40 mark. That is not a great age and a whole time for a fighter like him. Well, that was Smiling Sam Alvey. Thank you for your time, brother. Have a good day.
Hey, you're very welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Goodbye.